From the capital city of Charleston, West Virginia, this is Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis. Inside West Virginia Politics is brought to you by AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside West Virginia Politics. I'm your co-host Mark Curtis along with Adrian Robbins, and our guest is Ann Barth, the Executive Director of TechConnect West Virginia. We are coming to you this week from the annual TechConnect Coding and Cyber Summit here at the Embassy Suites Hotel. Good to have you on the show.
Great to be back, Mark, and especially to talk about the summit, which we see as a signature event, a milestone in the year tracking the progress made in the tech job growth in West Virginia.
So you maybe can't tell from inside here, but there's a lot of action going on right outside the door. Tell us a little bit about the summit.
Well, we're here to talk about the opportunities that are presented both in workforce development and economic development because of the jobs opportunities in cyber. We have cyber firms displaying, we have programs from institutions of higher education around the state. We even have a group of high school students here today who learned about it and are eager to explore a future career in cyber. So we'll have great speakers talking about opportunities in West Virginia. We'll have people talking about programs that are offered at our colleges and universities. And then we're going to hear from some folks about what is done to protect data by government at all levels.
Yeah,
local,
we're going to do a segment
state.
in a second, about cybersecurity and how important that is, because that's a big concern to everyone these days. We're doing so much online. A lot has happened. We've done this show 3 years in a row. A lot has happened in the last year. Kind of fill us in. Who has announced who's coming to West Virginia? We know we had Facebook breaking ground here. Tell us what's going on.
Well, we had Facebook recently break ground. Infor, the global cloud computing company, announced this year that they're locating jobs in Charleston. We've had other tech companies announce, like Intuit in Bluefield, which brought jobs, but also their Prosperity Hub and Innovation Center. We had the free college, community college tuition bill pass. Many things are coming together at the same time, and this convergence is part of this great opportunity that we want to make sure people know about, that students know about it, that educators know about it, so that we can train folks here for good jobs that are in West Virginia.
So you touched on it right there. The jobs are obviously coming here to West Virginia. What are we all doing to make sure that we can fill those jobs with West Virginians and not just people coming from out of state? Not that that's a bad thing.
Well, our major institutions of higher education are adding programs. Our community colleges are in on the game. And you'll see today from the exhibits that even our high schools through the Career and Technical Education Center have simulated workplaces that are focused on cyber learning opportunities, which mean cyber job opportunities down the road. And this is a field that's growing at a rate of 38% through 2028. So we're seeing massive growth. We know there are already about 1,000 open jobs in West Virginia. What we want to do is get the word out that we can train students to fill those jobs or invite people to come back home who maybe left the state to work.
All right, the show's about politics, so I've got to ask, we're about a month away from the legislature convening for the annual 60-day session. What do you need from the legislature this year in terms of support, legislation, et cetera, and Congress as well?
Well, one thing we need is their ear. We need them to understand that we do have an industry here around tech. We need to work together to grow it. And I'm very encouraged to see that two of the delegates, Delegate Moore Capito and Delegate Sean Fluharty, recently announced the formation of a technology caucus in the House. And I think that'll be great to shine a light on the opportunities that are here and help people understand that we do have a growing tech sector in the state. And if we all come together, we can make it even bigger.
Obviously, one of the big issues in tech is getting more women in tech. You are the only woman that's going to be on this show besides me, obviously, today. How do we make sure that we're getting more opportunities for these women?
Well, closing the gender gap in tech is a big, tall task for the whole country, not just West Virginia. But I'm so encouraged by programs like the Women in Cyber group that formed at Marshall among students, women students. And we have engineering groups of women at WVU. We need to help young women understand that this is a field with great possibilities for them as well, and encourage and nurture them as they enter this.
I want to mention that there's a group of Marshall students here. I think about half of them are women, so it's great. They've got a display up there showing some of the work they're doing. We want to thank Ann Barth from TechConnect West Virginia. You can find out more about her organization, techconnectwv.org. Congratulations on a great cyber summit.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, well, we'll have you back on the show in the you know that. We'll have more of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break.
I'm an undergrad at Marshall. I'm a junior currently. and my plans after school are to just work anywhere because my field is always looking for jobs, so I really have plenty of options for after I graduate.
Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
Welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. For those just joining us, we're here at the West Virginia Coding and Cyber Conference here in Charleston. And joining us now, Bernie McKay, Chief Policy Officer for Intuit. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Happy to be here. It's great to be back.
Intuit's in a lot of news here in West Virginia these days with the launching of the operations down in Mercer County and Bluefield. Tell us about what's the latest with that in terms of getting it up and running and how many jobs we're going to see.
Well, this is what we call a prosperity hub. And it's really all about giving back to help economically challenged parts of the country come back, help them have job growth, workplace of the future, and frankly bring them into the 21st century tech economy in the ways that we're able to do. And so what we've done, we've actually selected 5 sites across the country. The first 2 were in Wise, Virginia and Johnstown, Pennsylvania. We've created between those already over 1,100 jobs here in the U.S. that provide support to our online customers for QuickBooks, the software we have to help small businesses manage their finances, and Mint, which is a consumer application to help people manage their personal finances. And so these folks in these prosperity hubs are trained. We partner with local education facilities. We partner with the local community to bring these jobs in. And in many cases, you have folks that were unemployed. You have folks transitioning from other industries, and they're looking for a fresh opportunity. We're bringing the opportunity in to support us with call center partners that are placing these jobs in these locations. In Bluefield, we announced it last March. We opened in September. First allotment of 100 folks came on board. Our goal in Bluefield that we can see ahead so far is 500 jobs there. But it's what we do is we go into particular areas and locations and we choose them based on economics, based on opportunity, based on where we could make a difference for folks who need it most. And so it's a little different approach to how those jobs are placed, and it's something that everybody in the company is jazzed about, but especially our chairman of the board, Brad Smith, who is from West Virginia, as you know.
How much did that play a role in it, that obviously Brad Smith knows this state very well? When you're picking out cities across the country, that it happened that one of them's obviously here in West Virginia.
I think it really has to do with both the company's commitment. Every business has a mission and a phrase or a statement that describes it. Ours is powering prosperity around the world. That's actually how we view our purpose, why we develop our products and offer them. And it's really to help people, whether it's TurboTax to allow you to do your own taxes, and including for free, or whether it's QuickBooks to help people with no prior financial background, but who either want to start a small business or want to manage it better, to be able to control their cash flow, receive their payments, make payments out to others. Small businesses, about 50% of them fail, and most of the time it's the inability to manage the finances and the cash flow. So what we do is help empower people to prosper, empower people to be able to bring food home on the table and be able to pay the rent and pay the bills and their kids to go to college someday.
We're down to a minute, and I want to address this because you just mentioned college. Not only did Brad Smith, was he influential in bringing the operations here, he donated, what, $25 million to Marshall University. We see a lot of Marshall students here at the Cyber Summit today. How important is the education component to what your company is doing?
Absolutely essential. And one of the things that's important in all of that is recognizing, as this conference does, that coding, technical jobs, cybersecurity jobs, and the jobs that surround and support the tech community, including the call centers and customer interface, all of that is about the 21st century economy. And it's different. And, you know, you asked, yes, it's because Brad has a passion for West Virginia, and yes, it's because Intuit has a passion for prosperity, but everywhere we've gone in the country has the same profile, where there's some stagnation in the unemployment, where there's some stagnation in the economy, and where the economy is trying to transition. Those are the sweet spots we think we can help.
Well, it's a fascinating discussion. We want to thank Bernie McKay, the Chief Information Officer for Intuit. Great to see you.
Good
We
to see
know
you
we're going to be
again.
doing a lot more stories about what's going on here in West Virginia.
Absolutely.
And we'll have more of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break.
Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
Welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. We're continuing our discussion here at the West Virginia Coding and Cyber Summit. We're now joined by Josh Spence, Chief Technology Officer for the state of West Virginia. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
You have a big job. I mean, you oversee all the, I guess, computer operations and tech operations for the state. How many employees are underneath you?
The central agency supports over 225 employees to support the executive branch government.
You know, I feel like a lot of people don't even know that we have this branch in West Virginia or in states across the U.S., but you guys have a big, tall task here, keeping our cybersecurity safe here in West Virginia. Tell us a little bit about what you guys all do.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing is technology is changing the way you interact in the world, to include how you interact with government. So we're seeing changes in government services that allow you to, instead of standing in line, you can go do it online. But that also brings about an opportunity for threat actors to exploit those technologies to try to either steal information from the government or to impede our operations and hold our technology ransom, in essence. So those are threats we face every day.
And in fact, we had some threats here in West Virginia. Was it Harrison County that got hacked into, or they had some cybersecurity issues? So this is a concern, because you're right. I got a letter in the mail, renew my driver's license. I could either do it online or go to stand in line at the DMV, which nobody wants to do. But at the same time, I'm being asked to put personal information out there, and that worries me. I mean, how do you assure the public that everything's up to snuff at your agency?
Absolutely. So that's a big challenge that the state does face. And so what we're doing, and we had the Secure West Virginia Act, the Secure West Virginia Act was passed last year. And what it did is it established a responsibility to build our cybersecurity protections on a foundation of risk management, which is really important, because there are a lot of threats. There are a lot of potential weaknesses. We need to make sure the dollars we spend on protecting are put to where they matter most, and it's going to be in a question of risk.
Well, when we talk about security, I feel like the biggest thing people want to know is about our elections. We do have an election coming up in 2020. What is your office doing to make sure that our votes are secure?
Absolutely. So we partner with the Secretary of State's office in helping do some putting some protections in place, making sure that the vulnerabilities that are discovered are remediated, and we help assist them as needed. And then in addition to that, we help support ongoing monitoring operations of the state's network leading up and during the election.
I've got to ask, because we're here at the TechConnect Cyber Summit and cybersecurity. I get it all mixed up.
We're so close. I think West Virginia Coding and Cyber Summit.
Coding and Cyber Summit. There's a lot of students here, high school students, college students. I mean, is your agency hiring? What opportunities are there for young people out there in your field, and particularly with the state?
Absolutely, and that's a great opportunity we're very excited about. We leverage the governor's internship program, and we partner with the higher education institutions to do projects with these students where they get faculty sponsors, and which we think is an awesome opportunity, because one, we can allow students to work on a project that helps solve a problem for the state very cost effectively, and instead of them doing a project where it's done in a virtualized instance and then after the project's scored they just delete it, right? They're doing something that the state's going to leverage for years to come. So it's a very mutually beneficial opportunity, and we've been partnering with our higher education institutions to achieve this.
Can you tell us a little bit about your part in the summit? I know you actually have to get going here pretty soon because you do have to go out and speak. What do you want to express to these students and these companies about what you guys are doing at the state?
I think the big thing is, one, we need to get the word out. There are a lot of already activities and opportunities out there to get involved into the cyber career field or coding career field. It's just, sometimes I think it's demystifying a little bit. I think some people don't consider the career field because they picture like the Matrix screen of green characters they can't understand, but that's really not what it is, and there's a lot of different lanes in which you can get involved in. So we're really wanting to get the word out that, yeah, you can do a lot more than what you might give yourself credit for. You just need to get an opportunity to try it out.
Yeah, and you're never too old to learn. I found out at age 60 I got an associate's degree in computer science because my generation never had this stuff. So to my contemporaries out there, give it a shot. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of fun, and things you can do online. We want to thank Josh Spence. He's the Chief Technology Officer for the state of West Virginia, for joining us here at the Cyber Summit and Coding Summit here at the Embassy Suites. Good to meet you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll have more of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break.
I'm probably going to have to go out of state for a little while, but I'd like to bring a lot of computer science back to West Virginia and make this something that our state can do.
Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
And welcome back to our final segment this weekend on Inside West Virginia Politics. I want to introduce Matt Turner. He is the Vice Chancellor with the West Virginia Higher Education Policy Committee. Great to have you on the program with me and Adrian.
Thank you so much for being here.
Nice to see you.
And so let's start off by talking about the summit itself. We're obviously here, lots of students out there. We've spent this whole half hour hearing about all the jobs coming to West Virginia. Are we pumping up enough students out there to fill all of these jobs?
I don't think a lot of people know that there are jobs available right now in this state in high-tech fields. And we have great training opportunities available at low cost with a great deal of financial aid for students to help them get through college, or even certifications to help them have the tools they need to get a job right away in the state in high-tech, high-paying, good jobs.
One of the things that has changed in the last year since we've been at the summit every year doing this show is the new community and technical college program known as Last Dollar In, or a lot of people refer to it as free community and technical college. How important is that, and how is that going to facilitate getting students into a community college classroom that probably wouldn't have gone?
Well, I'll tell you what, you wouldn't believe the number of students who didn't realize that there was financial aid money on the table. Cost is the biggest scare factor, I guess, that we see of students wanting to pursue post-secondary education. So whether that's an associate degree or a quality certification or a bachelor's degree and beyond, cost scares students away. They hear about the high cost of college education, but really it's quite affordable in West Virginia. And the Senate Bill 1, the Last Dollar In program, what we found after we just launched this fall, is that we had a lot of students who applied who were already qualified for free college and didn't even know it.
You know, earlier in the show, we talked to Mr. Spence from the state of West Virginia, and he does cybersecurity. He said a lot of people think of cyber jobs and they think of the Matrix, and they get a little concerned. They think that's not for me. Is that another barrier, is convincing these students that there are so many different fields in the cyber?
There's a huge number of fields in cyber and information technology, and it could be anything from programming robots to cyber forensics and cybersecurity and defense, or computer science, desktop support, anything from that nature. So it's a huge variety of fields, and college courses and certification courses are available at institutions across the state. So I think the best thing a student can do is check out our website, cfwv.com, or go visit one of their campuses. So we have folks that are willing and ready to help them show what their potential career paths may be.
Okay, again, mention the website. That's important. We'll put it up on the screen too.
cfwv.com. That's the College Foundation of West Virginia. That's our key financial aid website resource for students for all varieties of state financial aid, and also helps them find out how to apply for college or what programs are available at each of our institutions.
And there's a Department of Labor grant. You guys talk about that.
Recently, yes, our community college system just got a $4 million Department of Labor grant. And what this is, it's an apprenticeship program that will help cover both the cost of tuition as well as get students prepped and working with employers, private employers in the state, to help them be ready for an immediate pathway to a career after they get their certification or degree.
Lots of exciting things going on. Obviously, the legislative session is coming up. We talk about the Last Dollar In program that came about last session. Anything you're looking for from your lawmakers?
For this year, we're always talking about college access and success, any measures that we can have that make college a little bit easier to get into. One of the things that comes up, I told you that with Senate Bill 1, we found out that a lot of students had not applied for financial aid. They didn't realize they were eligible for it. So some of the talk is finding ways that we can encourage more high school students to apply for financial aid earlier.
We're down to less than a minute, I think, but you looking out into the crowd today at the Cyber Summit and Coding Summit here, all the students, we have high school students, Marshall University students, students from Fairmont State and other colleges I probably forgot. Does that excite you when you look out at the crowd and say this is the future and these people are getting the training they need?
Absolutely it is. And you know, West Virginia has a lot of first-generation college students, ones whose parents never went to college. And these fields are exciting for a lot of these students. And as we mentioned earlier, there's a variety of fields there. So when I see the young people out there who are looking to find a way to a good job, a high-paying career in the state, those opportunities are here, and I think they're finding out how exciting this field can be.
Certainly an exciting time in West Virginia for tech.
Absolutely. We want to thank our guest, Matt Turner. He's the Vice Chancellor of the Higher Education Policy Committee Commission here in West Virginia. Check out the website real quick.
CFWV.com.
CFWV.com. On behalf of my co-host Adrian Robbins, thanks for joining us this week on Inside West Virginia Politics.
I'm going to be working at the Department of Defense after I graduate. So there's so many opportunities out there. They're snatching us up.